I like how I don't know if this was intentional or not, but you guys put Colin on the couch so there wouldn't be chair noise.
I just like sitting on the couch more than the chair.
No, it's not a couch, it's your bed. I'm f***ing tired.
Oh, I called it a couch too, so.
But you always call things different things. But the two adults are in chairs because we're not going to be going...
The two fucking adults. He's such a... He's an asshole.
My chair's squeaky, just moving side to side. Is that one better?
Yeah.
No, I mean that one.
No, that's... No.
That's the chair?
That's the chair.
Do you want this
I need a new
creaky chair, Dad?
Sure, I don't move around.
That's actual bullshit.
I have restless leg, but I don't move around when we record.
He's an actual liar.
It squeaked as soon as he said it.
Yeah, I got a fat ass. What's your problem? Oh my gosh, it's up so high. Whee! There we go.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
I'm gonna sneeze.
Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast. This is episode 50?
Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast. This is episode 50, I think. I am your host, Colin Eaton.
Let me get the numbers.
I'm your host, Colin, with my co-hosts, Spencer and Jacob.
You keep throwing your last name in there, and I have to edit it out. Stop!
Why? What's wrong with my last name? There's nothing wrong with my last name.
We're trying not to get doxxed or swatted or whatever the cool new hip lingo is.
My name is Colin.
I mean, dude, all of our social medias are tagged.
And our names are on it.
This is 49. Wait.
No, we just did.
Hold on. Let me fucking think on our stupid ass release schedule. Colin, I will put my foot between your balls.
Okay, they're pretty stretchy.
He's not used to something that big being between his balls.
I'm not used to anything big. This is 49 or 50. I don't remember anymore.
Well, whatever. It is a news week, ladies and gentlemen.
And
it is a nude news week.
Nude news dudes. Nude news dudes.
We are three nude news dudes.
We should all take off an article of clothing per article of news.
No. Colin just wants to take his clothes off.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I want to go to a gym. You can get away with it. You can just stand there with your balls airing out in the locker room with a bunch of dudes around.
I could do that.
Nice
could do
titties,
that.
man.
No, I could not do
no,
that.
No, those are some nice titties, man. Thanks.
I work them out.
I'm sure you do. Do you milk them?
Oh God.
You know I do. Just for you.
Oh God,
Milk
please
them with my new
Please stop. So, starting off from Marvel.com, during the Walt Disney Company's 2022 upfront presentation, executive producer Kevin Feige, president of Marvel Studios and chief creative officer of Marvel, welcomed star Tatiana Maslany to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as the pair shared details about the upcoming series, including the August 17th launch date exclusively on Disney+, as well as a teaser poster, teaser trailer, and full title reveal. She-Hulk, attorney at law... Calm down. We'll get there.
Muscle mommy.
Shut up, Colin. Follows Jennifer Walters as she navigates the complicated life of a single 30-something attorney who also happens to be a green 6'7" superpowered Hulk. The 9-episode series welcomes a host of MCU vets, including Mark Ruffalo as Smart Hulk, Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky / The Abomination, and Benedict Wong as Wong. Colin, get it out now.
Ooh, muscle mommy with the drip.
What?
Ooh.
Why is Mark Ruffalo still playing Smart Hulk? Why isn't his character moving on like other Marvel characters have between movies?
Most likely because he has less to do. Because Marvel still doesn't own the rights to distribute another Hulk movie, so they're not going to give him his own stuff. And Mark Ruffalo is probably just like a super good team player and just like will pop up and stuff because they ask him to.
Weird.
Probably also costs a hell of a lot less than a lot of the other guys did, to be fair.
But I'm saying, like, there's been character growth with, like, Doctor Strange in between movies. Like, obviously you see him in the team-ups or whatever, but he's definitely a little bit different between each movie if you watch it chronologically, and there's absolutely nothing different with this Hulk.
I wish we got his gloves back. We only ever saw his gloves in Ragnarok.
I disagree. I would like him to wear gloves. Those ones were a little too goofy for me. I liked that it was a nice little nod. It's harder to like do the magic fingers.
Something too goofy for Spencer.
Not because they're too like clunky. It's hard to do all the magic signs with them.
Guess what there is? CGI, because we use CGI for everything.
Yeah, if we could stop, if we could get a fucking muscle mommy and paint her green, this would go a lot better. Anyways, yes. Shut up. Back
horny.
to Jacob. No. Back to Jacob's point. It's probably just because Hulk's not that popular by comparison. They'll keep him around, but he's not putting butts in seats. Doctor Strange is one of the largest characters in the MCU now, and definitely one of the most popular. But
I want Worldbreaker Hulk. But anyway.
I agree. I am glad I think you said it right after we watched the trailer that it's nice that it looks like Bruce is going to be a bit more involved with this than he was in most of the She-Hulk comics, which I think is good. I'm glad we're getting something tonally different. They said, hey guys, we're going to make an actual funny comedy, like an actual comedy, not like MCU movie go funny burr. Like it's actually just supposed to be like a comedy series, and I think that's a good idea.
Muscle mommy.
You know what isn't a comedy? Amazon Prime Video released the first trailer for The Boys Season 3, streaming exclusively on Prime Video on June 3rd.
So by the time this episode comes out, the first few episodes will be out of The Boys Season 3.
Wow.
I am stupidly excited. I am a little concerned with how much time is taking place between Season 2 and 3. I think they said it's 2 years, which is what happened in the real world, but whatever. It looks good. I'm interested. I just watched both seasons pretty recently, and I still haven't talked about it, so I'm in the mood for this.
I stopped watching the show.
Saw both seasons, and I'm just passable on it. Like,
really?
Yeah, it's okay.
I watched the first 5 episodes of season 1. I accidentally stopped watching it, meaning I didn't like it that much without me even realizing it. So I just didn't get back to it.
To be honest, I like the TV show better than the comics for the most part.
Definitely.
So
we can break up the next one and we can each do
Wrong. From DCComics.com, DC will be publishing a series standalone 64-page one-shot comics featuring Batman's world-famous enemies. The series of releases under the header Batman One Bad Day will tell definitive tales featuring the Riddler, Two-Face, the Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Catwoman, Bane, Clayface, and Ra's al Ghul. Tom King and Mitch Geralds reunite in a new 64-page one-shot comic this August. Edward Nygma's meticulous rules and systems go out the window when he kills seemingly at random, but Batman isn't buying it. This tense intellectual thriller sees Batman unravel as he tries to decode the Riddler's motivation. Heads or tails when it comes to Two-Face, Batman always loses. Is Harvey Dent back to save Gotham City? In a new 64-page one-shot comic this September, Mariko Tamaki and Javier Fernandez's tragic noir Two-Face epic will flip that iconic coin on its head? Exclamation point.
Pun go burr.
When the Penguin's criminal empire is stolen by a former associate, Batman faces both Cobblepot and the Umbrella Man on the burning streets of Gotham. John Riddler and Giuseppe Jinx, you only kiss on the lips. Giuseppe Camuncoli's?
Probably Camuncoli.
Camuncoli? Giuseppe Camuncoli's One Bad Day one-shot arrives this October. Save your sympathies, Batman and Robin. Years ago, Gotham City experienced a winter so icy that Mr. Freeze could live without his containment suit. Jerry Duggan and Matteo Scalera deliver a cold new take on Mr. Freeze this November. A brooch Selena Kyle's mother once pawned. A brooch. Yeah, you were right. You said brooch. A brooch Selena Kyle's mother once pawned for pennies is now part of a high-bid auction. The stakes are personal, and Catwoman will steal it back at any cost this December in G. Willow Wilson's and Jamie McKelvey's One Bad Day one-shot. The man who broke the bat returns for the last vengeance of Bane. See Bane's mind, body, and spirit get ravaged in a One Bad Day one-shot by Joshua Williamson and Howard Porter in January 2023. Clayface's dream was to be famous, but Gotham's star don't always shine bright. Batman chases Basil Carlo to L.A., where Clayface is killing his way to fame in Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing and Zermencio's One Bad Day February one-shot. Holy shit, we're almost done. Finally, capping off the run of one-shot issues is Tom Taylor and Ivan Reis on Ra's al Ghul's One Bad Day story in March. You know his name, the bat will know his wrath.
So I'm pretty sure we talked about this last news week, but this just gives more details about all of the characters.
It didn't come out last week. I double-checked it.
No, 2 weeks ago.
No!
Whatever.
The announcement came out while I was listening to you guys' episode.
We talked about something where they were doing a year of Batman villains. 2 weeks ago.
Cock and ball.
And this is just more detail about the creative teams behind it.
I want more.
I don't give a shit.
Just wait. You'll get your hands on like one of them, and then you'll buy all of them.
Not wrong.
That's what you say every time.
Is that a hickey on Colin's neck?
The fact that he's not making any jokes about it means it probably is.
Dang.
It's brutal.
Good for
Yeah,
you,
that's what
man.
hickeys are.
No, it's not. Hickeys are kisses from the Tooth Fairy.
You're banging the Tooth Fairy?
Fuck yeah! Have you seen it on Timmy Turner?
Oh my god.
On Fairly
no.
Odd Parents?
No.
Jacob's not retarded like you. He watches high-class television.
Also Timmy's mom.
Shut up.
High class television is in the first season of Rebels this week. Woo!
Dude, based. From DCComics.com, just in time for the 20th anniversary of its launch, the acclaimed blockbuster that defined an era of Vertigo Comics returns with an all-new 12-issue story, The Black Forest. A tale that picks up right where Fable's 150 left off, providing a new entry point into the world of Fabletown. The dust has barely settled from the climactic battle between Tokenkinder and Cinderella, and everything is far from happily ever after. A legendary new adversary has arrived, and he plans on getting even with Geppetto for the mess that has been made of Manhattan. But it's a new day, and with it, a new Jack in the Green has arrived in the Black Forest. And within the emergency room of a New York hospital, a Fable long thought dead returns. I put this in because I'm excited for it, because I love Fables. And all of this universe. I'm very happy.
I don't know what that is.
So, you know a Wolf Amogus? Maybe? It's a video game. It was a Telltale game.
Oh, there's this video game I want to play, and it's where instead of Jesus dying for everyone, he goes on a crusade, and he has this bunch of people, and it's like 15,000 years later. It's called like I the something. But yeah, basically Jesus goes on a crusade instead of dying on the cross for people, and it's like 15,000 years later.
Bible 2. Jesus is back, and he's pissed off.
Yeah, literally.
Oh boy.
I want to play it.
I'm excited for this.
From comicbook.com, Tony Gilroy, who worked on Rogue One and is leading the charge on Andor, opened up about what kind of story this new series will actually tell. According to the filmmaker, it follows Cassian life a few years before we meet him in Rogue One, showing how the Empire is changing the galaxy and how he becomes involved in the rebellion. This guy gave his life for the galaxy, right? I mean, he consciously, soberly, without vanity or recognition, sacrificed himself. Who does that? That's what this first season is about. It's about him being really revolution-averse and cynical and lost and kind of a mess. His adopted home will become the base of our whole first season, and we watch that place become radicalized. Then we see another planet that's completely taken apart in a colonial kind of way. The Empire is expanding rapidly. They're wiping out anybody who's in their way. I think it's really interesting to tell a story even though we know where it ends, Luna told THR. The way you can approach a story like this inevitably takes you into a deeper process of reflection. I tend to use that word a lot. So once you know what Cassian is capable of, then there's room for so much exploration, and that's something that excites me a lot as an actor. I think the format of a series is amazing because we have a lot of time to explore all those layers. Like an onion.
Colin, hit the next one, please, so we can talk about Andor properly. The next one's an Andor thing.
Or an ogre.
Oh my gosh.
Which one?
The next one.
At Star Wars Celebration
Anaheim 2022.
Lucasfilm Studios.
At Star Wars Celebration Anaheim 2022, Lucasfilm Studios Showcase revealed that Andor, the upcoming Disney Plus series, will premiere its first 2 episodes August 31st, 2022, as well as dropping the first teaser trailer and first poster.
Okay, so Rogue One is one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Cassian Andor is one of my favorite characters from that movie.
Of course he is, you Spanish fuck.
I've always been excited for this show, but I'm really, really excited to the fact that it looks like there's pretty much nothing in common with anything we've seen before outside of Mon Mothma existing. Like, these look like new planets. It's a whole new chunk of the universe that we're dealing with, and we're also dealing with remnants of the Separatists as well, and I think that's way more interesting, and I like that whilst we're still filling in the overly mined gap between episode 3 and 4, it just they're going in a different direction with it, and also just visually looks really interesting. The teaser was nice. I like the tone. Someone point out the funny font on the poster, please.
I think I forgot to watch the trailer.
I kind of liked the O in the poster. It was
I like
outlined by the D and the R. It's funny.
I like the poster because it looks like an I if you read the font the same way, but it's actually an O.
Ander.
That seems to be everyone's reaction to the poster.
Ander.
Oh my gosh, Ander.
There's a hole.
From DCComics.com, from the original Deceased to Deceased Dead Planet, Deceased Unkillables to Deceased Hope at World's End, Deceased. Acclaimed Tom... the best Tom. Fucking kill me.
When you were just
No?
screaming, I was trying to put my finger in your belly button, and Spencer was just like, oh my gosh.
I hate you.
What am I doing here?
Acclaimed writer Tom Taylor and artist Trevor Hairsine turned the DCU upside down, combining horror, heroism, and hope in the face of Armageddon. These two reunite for the last chapter of the fan-favorite franchise Deceased with Deceased War of the Undead Gods. This 8-issue monthly limited series arrives in comic book stores and participating digital platforms on Tuesday, August 9th. What began as a battle for Earth has become a war for the galaxy. The emergence of a reborn undead Darkseid in DC's Dead Planet sets the stage for the most devastating conflict yet for Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. As the anti-life equation spreads into the cosmos, the survivors of Earth prepare for the coming apocalypse and realize their only hope could lie in the most powerful surviving hero of the first Deceased series. Absolute mega fucking hype.
Yes.
The trailer was sick as shit. Did you watch the trailer, Jay?
I did not know there was a trailer.
They're so hot.
I cannot wait for 3 years to pass and I buy this in an omnibus. I have held back from
that's
buying the
fair.
trades.
Yeah. You've been mooching them off of me.
I know. And I didn't know this was going to be the last one. So I'm
It's going to be
sad it's going to be the end, but it's also a really, really good thing, too.
It's the last one, but then halfway through it, they'll announce the spin-off companion one,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, exactly,
So there's a
right.
total of 6 books. Hit it.
Marvel Studios released the first trailer and main poster for Thor: Love and Thunder, coming in to cinemas July 8th.
I'm excited.
I only have 3 points.
I have a... Yes.
The fact that the helmets are CG is disgusting.
Yup.
They look really, really bad.
Yep.
Just either don't have the helmet or make it a real helmet.
Second, gore.
Yes!
Gore.
Yes.
I was nervous when they cast Christian Bale, because I don't really, really, really like him. He's just fine.
He seems like a good
but
villain.
he seems like he really fits that character well.
The point with him I was a little bit more concerned about originally
He
is
just looks like a fucking human.
that's why I'm actually looking forward to it. Because, one, dumb CG gray villain, but the character of Gore looks extremely close to Ebony Maw, who we've already seen from Infinity War. They're almost the same.
Hellraiser.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Ebony Maw is wicked tall.
Ebony Maw is wicked tall, wicked skinny. He has nostrils.
They both have nose slits. They have a
They
flattened
don't.
outfit. I'm talking about if they went with a quote-unquote more accurate to the comics Gore, it would look more similar to that than he would to a human.
No.
Moving on.
Sure.
The fact that they're letting Christian Bale actually act is why I'm excited. Instead of
Well,
putting
yeah,
him
that's
in a
cool, but-
stupid fucking ball suit, they're just putting some makeup on him and letting him have a performance.
Also,
There's nothing wrong with having him not look like him. Because we don't have tendrils coming out of his head. He's going to look like a human and not like this monstery looking thing. And there's no fucking black hood.
Yet. that we've seen.
Sure.
And also, there's that weird sequence in the trailer that takes place in the weird black and white space.
Yeah.
It's
a little image, but it's not much. What?
In the books, Gore is a little whelp. He's just he's a nothing.
It's the power that he has from the Necro Sword.
And
his will it's his willpower, not the fact that he's dominating. He does look like a dude, just happens to have like head tails.
He's not supposed to look like a monster or monstrous.
Grab the book.
Grab the book.
3 days later.
I forgot that his story does not actually... It's not long.
No. So that was, I think, why I enjoyed it so much. It wasn't It kicked off an era, but it wasn't... Like, he wasn't the main antagonist of the whole thing. He just started this massive era because he planted seeds of doubt.
3 weeks later.
Yeah, no.
They're not the...
Hold on.
I see them now.
They're not the same... they're not what I thought they were. But he does have a nose.
Yeah,
so we're both
he has
wrong.
no slits.
We're both wrong.
3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
It's stupid. Why does fucking Gore look like a human? It's stupid.
What about Gore needs to be uniquely alien? He's a human type of
Because he looks fucking cool! It looks cool that way!
I don't disagree, but what I'm saying is for the sake of the character in the movie to be a fleshed out character who's given an actual like birth to exist as a person, it's easier to do with a bit less CG work. This is a given, and making him more humanoid makes him easier to empathize with.
Too practical.
There are slight prosthetics. I wish they would do a little bit more. I like the head tendril thing, but they probably found that really hard to do.
What prosthetics?
Like, they're extending, like, his cheekbones and shit. Like, he has scar tissue and crap. The general makeup design in terms of the eye color and the vertical lines and shit is very similar, and the all-white outfits are nice.
Well, we'll see it sometime after July 8th. Moving on. Calling it to StarWars.com. Second last one.
I'll do this one. This one's mine. Okay. This one is one I wanted to include.
Perfect.
From StarWars.com, at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim 2022, fans got an exciting look at what's to come in Phase 2 of Star Wars The High Republic. The highly acclaimed publishing initiative will begin an all-new era of interconnected stories told across novels, children's book, and, of course, comics. Marvel Comics' Star Wars The High Republic sagas will return this fall with a new ongoing series, Star Wars The High Republic, starting over at issue 1, and a new limited series titled Star Wars The High Republic The Blade. Launching in October, Star Wars The High Republic #1 will see writer Cavan Scott and artist Ario Anedito reunite after their mega-successful run on Volume 1. Set 150 years before Phase 1, Phase 2 of Star Wars The High Republic will center around Jedha, a planet rich in its connection to the Force and the focus on every major faith in the galaxy. The new flagship Star Wars The High Republic comic series will introduce Jedi Vildar Mak, who arrives at Jedha's fragile peace begins to crumble and a nameless terror arrives. Author of Star Wars The High Republic, Light of the Jedi, and one of the chief architects behind the Star Wars The High Republic storytelling initiative, writer Charles Soule will team up with artist Marco Castellio on Star Wars The High Republic The Blade. The 4-issue limited miniseries will explore the mysterious backstory of Porter Engle, the Jedi-turned-cook, also known as the Blade of Bardota. I think the High Republic stuff is some of the best things Disney's put out Star Wars-wise, and the fact that no one talks about it is kind of criminal. It's great. You guys should get in on it. Do it in the balls.
I've been wanting to, but there's a lot of stuff. And it's
I have a chronological list if you want it. There are 6 books and about 30 issues of comics, roughly. And that's excluding, like, the kid stuff and the audio dramas and whatnot.
The comics, not necessarily the books.
The comics are pretty standalone if you want to just read those. There's 3 trades, I think.
I think the TV shows will be catching up fairly soon within the next couple of years because right now they're wearing the stuff in between the prequels and the original series pretty thin.
And we also have The Acolyte, which is set before all of the High Republic, if I remember correctly.
Wow. The last bit of news. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni announced during a panel at Star Wars Celebration 2022 Anaheim that The Mandalorian Season 3 will be streaming in February of 2023.
I saw the leak trailer, a little bits of it.
Yeah, I didn't want to include that.
No.
The leaks are hard to try to figure out what to cover, but I think we were expecting like December
Because that's what they've been before.
That's right, because Book of Boba Fett replaced it last year, and then both of the other ones were December, but blah blah production took a little longer. It's a 2-month delay, who cares?
Rip.
Also, there's so many shows coming up. Andor is overlapping with She-Hulk, and oh my gosh, there's so much. So
much Star Wars talk.
Kenobi happened.
Oh boy, yeah.
Do we want to...
episodes of it.
Can we take each episode one at a time?
Probably not, because it all mixed into one for me, but we can try.
Okay, I actually have a lot of notes.
Shocker.
Shut up. Sometimes I didn't have a lot of notes on the TV shows. The recap was really good.
But when
I
it
wasn't
comes
expecting
to
that.
your man, Space Jesus, you get a lot of notes.
I mean, the recap was something fucking special.
It just went a little harder than it needed to. They put a new music piece over it, and I think Yoga. I think Yoda got touched up a little bit, but I don't really care. I liked how the opening scene looked like the prequels. Like, it looked bad, kind of like the prequels. Like, the Jedi Temple, it was entirely artificial. I liked that, because it looks reminiscent of the era.
Oh, yeah.
And the only reason I'm saying that I think it was intentional is because the rest of this looks phenomenal. Even the stuff for there's a couple of shots here and there. I think this thing looked great.
There's a couple scenes where it's like, ooh.
Yeah, there was
Not
some
CG, but like...
wonky wire work, especially near the end.
I'm fine with wonky
like
wire work.
when she's doing parkour.
I think the reason it's wonky is because they were doing a lot of camera angles in that sequence on like the walls and stuff to make it seem
Like force jumps.
less right, because it is force jumping, but it's
Right, I
like
get
less prequel-y, but prequel power levels. They want to display it differently so it doesn't seem so crazy.
It still looked wonky though.
I really like how they're doing green lightsabers recently. The colors are different than they look in the movies. They look more like solid.
Dark.
They're a little darker. They're a little bit less bright. I don't know. It's that
I like it.
I don't know why. It's like a good vibe.
My favorite scene was probably the beginning scene where it was like Order 66. That was fucking awesome.
It's literally seeing Bruce
Mommy?
Wayne's parents
Sorry,
get
Mommy.
murdered, but like
Whose parents?
it's like seeing Bruce Wayne's parents get murdered.
Yeah.
It's like every time we have to. This is like the 8th time we've seen it, and I never get tired of it.
No, me
Please
neither.
kill more children.
I was hoping to see Anakin killing some young...
Right? I thought that's
I was
what
actually
they were gonna
hoping
do.
to see him kill
I
young
thought that's
Leia.
what they were gonna do. Like they're escaping, and then he shows up and kills them instead.
Yeah, dude.
I have a theory. I think that Reva is trying. I think she was in the temple somewhere. I have a feeling. There's got to be something because they're setting her up with a weird character dynamic with Obi Wan, the third sister.
Oh, I fucking hate her. I hate her so much.
I love that I hate her. It's great. She's a bitch. I love it.
She's so fucking annoying.
I am interested to what the dynamic is that they're setting up because it seems like she has a personal vendetta against Obi-Wan, but she is no one we've encountered before. So I have a feeling it's either something with Obi-Wan or potentially she wants to get Obi-Wan so she can get closer to Vader. Because the Inquisitors aren't always necessarily ex-Jedi, and they're obviously not Sith, so they have weird allegiances. Maybe there's something, I don't know, there's something to do with her wanting either Vader's approval or she wants to get close to Vader, probably to fucking kill him. So I think there might be something there. It's so funny seeing clone troopers in real armor, like that are real. It looks almost wrong.
Because they look so chunky.
Because they look like actual people. Unlike we've always seen them in the prequels and in everything else, they're all digital. It's like, holy cow, that's what they look like? Really? I like it. It's just, it feels so funny.
So we had second sister in Fallen Order.
Yes.
And ninth sister.
We've seen most of I believe there's 9 in total, and we've seen most of them in different forms.
No, I was just trying to figure out if we've seen the third sister before
that's,
anywhere.
That's why it was originally, before they announced in the show directly that she is the third sister, there was speculation about where the fuck she'd fit in. Because the third sister was previously unmentioned. Obviously, you just follow the order of the numbers.
Who is second sister?
Second sister was the what's that species?
The yellow?
Second sister was the one with the tusks, right? She was the big chunky one?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Yeah, pretty sure that's second sister.
Yeah.
And then seventh, I believe, was the woman whose name I cannot remember, the main antagonist of Fallen Order.
But they also get replaced if they get killed.
Yes.
So
But
the names
we've
can go. Because Vader killed 2 a sister and a brother.
Yes.
Or Knight sister and brother, because they were lovers. They weren't actually related.
Yes.
But he killed them in the comics.
Yeah,
those two.
I don't think we've seen the actual replacements, but they can get replaced. I just don't think we've seen it happen yet. But I like that we're getting... I don't know. I think I've talked about this before. I think the Inquisitors is one of the coolest things that's been added to Disney canon. And I think the fact that this is what the Knights of Ren should have been. Their Knights of Ren are catching up, only in the comics, of course. But this entirely different dynamic for what happened between episode 3 and 4 is phenomenal. It also means that Vader gets to chill way more in the background. So we have less Vader doing everything. He can be more of a myth, whatever. He only comes out for certain things. Mm-hmm. Because now we have most of the media between these things have Inquisitors instead. And I just like it. It also keeps the power levels lower, so it makes more... it makes the struggle feel more real instead of Vader just coming in and wiping out everyone. Mm-hmm. So, Colin's probably going to scream at me. The Grand Inquisitor looks better in movement than he does in the teaser. He looked a little rough then. We agreed on this.
I actually agree.
He's still... The head's a little wide, but I think the actor's performance is really good. I really like I wouldn't call it subtle, not in reality, but by comparison to how he looks in the animated series, his eye makeup is really subtle with the shadowing down the cheek. I really like it. Also, he has the yellow eyes and whatnot.
I don't hate it, so...
I'm not all over it, but it looks good.
Was kind of wondering to myself what it would have looked like if they had cast the voice actor from Rebels, because his face
that's
looks
what I was
a lot
that's
closer.
literally what I was saying when we first talked
His
about
face
this.
looks a lot closer to the right shape,
I don't know.
and you would have the right voice.
I don't think there's been a publicly announced reason why they didn't. I'm assuming there's got to be something there, maybe, because I don't remember the voice actor's name, but he does acting as well. He's not just a voice.
Lars Mikkelsen?
Yes, he's not just a voice actor, so I don't know why, but whatever.
Right, and the pictures I saw, he's pretty fit too.
They're very close, and with most of the animated characters, they're pretty damn close to what their actors look like, which is nice. I'm fine with what they're doing with him.
A missed opportunity.
Probably, maybe it was a scheduling thing, maybe it was a budgetary thing, they couldn't pay him enough. Who knows? So I was kind of... This is a point for both episodes. I was very terrified ahead of time when I found out that Kumail Nanjiani was going to be in this. I don't not like him, but I don't like celebrity cameos, and I don't like overly comedic roles in serious shows with blah, blah, we've been over this.
Oh, the guy from Eternals that I still don't like?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought he was good, and I think it's going to stay, that's the extent of his role. And I liked it for what it was. He's a little bit of a sleazeball. And then the same thing goes for Ben Safdie, which I did not see coming at all.
Is that the clone trooper?
No, that's Tamora Morrison.
Was it really?
Yeah, no, that was Tamora Morrison. They bearded him up, but he's stated he wants to be a clone trooper in modern day, and they finally let him do it. So that was
funny.
Nice. No, Ben Safdie. He was the other Jedi on Tatooine. He's the director of Good Times and Uncut Gems and blah blah. I just always get nervous when they're like, hey, guys, we want to give this person we like a cameo. I like that they do that. It feels wholesome. Here, Daniel Craig, put on Stormtrooper armor and voice 2 lines,
Yes.
But I always get a little nervous. The toy. Ooh, feels. The toy that Ben wants to give Luke is the one from A New Hope.
Yeah, I know, I noticed that.
I think they're going to bring it back at the end of the series.
Well, they have to.
To some extent. I think Owen's going to... get a little bit more
fucking dick.
I love it.
I don't get it.
I mean, he was always a dick. He was a dick in episode 3. He was a dick in episode 4.
Yep.
I get it.
He's so aggro.
But
I love it.
But he literally brought the baby to them when they let him still I don't know.
No, he was a delivery boy.
I guess so.
He is the one who got Anakin killed. To be fair,
I was going to agree.
Anakin got himself killed.
The guy from Eternals is better in this than Eternals, but still, I would like his role to be small.
I think they're gonna leave him there. I kind of hope they do. It was nice.
Too.
I like the fact that we got someone pretending to be a Jedi. I feel
that was great. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was nice.
And Obi-Wan's just this fucking bitch,
dude.
Right?
Obi-Wan is absolutely uncivilized. He's using a blaster so much. I love it. I love how it's an example of how much he kind of hates himself right now.
I love how when I first started watching this, I was like, what is going on? This feels so not okay. It's because he's so disheveled. Like, he hasn't been doing... He's been hiding for 10 years now, and he's just literally surviving. That's it. Literally surviving.
So good. Yeah, Joel Edgerton is really good as Owen. I think they're going to soften him up towards the end a little bit. He's still a douchebag in A New Hope, but he's like an understandable douchebag.
Yeah, I
so I think they're gonna level him out for some reason. There'll probably be some escapade with small child Luke as well, somewhere in here.
Yeah, 'cause I would hope so, because they like always try to stay away from young Luke. Like,
Which I get, because you don't want to like overexpose the character, but like it's even in A New Hope, it's well acknowledged. Like, he's met Ben before. Owen just tries to keep him away from. He's like.
Stay away from him.
He's
weird.
the weird hermit at the edge of the town. Like, Luke's clearly talked to him before, at least a couple of times. So it'd be nice, I think, if Owen... I don't know. If through some extenuating circumstances, Owen chills out for 5 minutes and lets Obi-Wan hang out one time, and then he gives him the toy, and then we just walk away and we can leave it alone.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
That would be nice.
This is all a good setup. I was talking about it last night. Because Leia is definitely old enough to remember this encounter with Obi-Wan. That's why she's going to send the distress signal to him in A New Hope.
Yes.
Yeah, I do like that. That would make sense. Like, why would she be asking for Obi-Wan in episode 4? Like, she definitely had to have encountered him.
At least would.
Or, something definitely showed her that this rando she can trust.
Yeah, it's not just her father's connection, it's also hers, which I think is cool. The one thing I did find funny, which is just maybe not an error, they might have just forgotten. Bail looks older here than he does in Rogue One because he's older.
Oh my gosh. I thought they were trying to do some CGI shit to him. So I'm like, he looks so fucked up.
He's 65.
I know, he looks so fucked up in the face. Because our last encounter with him was Rogue One.
It's just because his beard is white now. It shows off more of his actual
It looks like
face.
there's no beard at all.
I think they just didn't decide, they should have just dyed it like they did in Rogue One. It's not a big deal. It's just funny that she's like, oh my gosh, Obi-Wan looks old. It's like, oh, he looks younger than your dad, but okay. I don't care. It's just funny. I like how much of a sassy little shit Leia is. It doesn't feel like it's too much. It feels pretty in character.
No, she's like her mom.
She's a 10-year-old. She's not stupid, but she's a mega smartass. And then the only other thing from episode 1 that I really had was the whole... I think them doing the burying the lightsaber in the sand motif is supposed to be tangential connective tissue to Rise of Skywalker.
I was wondering about that.
Everything now has to collectively either decide to ignore Rise of Skywalker entirely or try to beef it up so it's not quite so shitty. Mandalorian is doing the same thing. But it unintentionally makes Rise of Skywalker worse because she's burying the lightsabers to honor somebody, even though the burying the lightsaber thing is bad in Obi-Wan. It means that you're into disgrace and running away. So it's just cosmically funny. I liked it. As soon as I saw him running out into the middle of the desert, I was like, ooh, let's go. He's got his little shovel. Sorry.
I thought he was just going to take a shit in the desert.
I would watch that.
Guys.
Dude, we left Tatooine, and I hope none of the rest of the series takes place on Tatooine except the last episode. Give us 3 episodes off Tatooine. Let's fucking go. So happy. The planet, I don't remember what it's called. It looks really good. It looks thank you. It looks kind of like the lower levels of Coruscant, but not
I thought we were on Coruscant for a minute, but I'm like, Coruscant's more red on the outside.
Yeah, it's a little bit less dingy. It's a bit less sketchy than Coruscant, but it looks good. And it was mostly practical on the streets anyways, which was nice.
I still like the Blade Runner feel.
Yes.
Oh, fuck it. Who doesn't love the Blade Runner feel?
Yes.
In Star Wars. It has to be Blade Runner in Star Wars.
Yes. My favorite moment in this entire episode was, aside from the end match cut, which was awesome, and minor jump scare, I guess, Obi-Wan forgetting how hard punching someone actually feels.
Oh, yeah!
Because he's not using the Force to fight anyone, he has to remember what pain feels like. And then he can still fight, fairly well. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not enhancing all of my combat with the Force. So he's it's almost like that moment when he,
kicks
General Grievous.
Yeah. He's like, oh!
Good comedy. Much
I
fun.
love that.
We saw spice. And
Drugs.
its sort of effects.
Yeah, it's just generic drug.
Yes.
Love it. I thought the Leia wearing a green hoodie poncho thingy was a reference to Return of the Jedi. Maybe it's just me reading into it too much, but
Yes.
I thought that's what it
That's
was.
you.
Okay.
I love how she is literally such a princess. She's like, oh, can I try this on? He's like, no.
And
And he's just so sad. He's like, no, you're not.
buys it anyways.
No. The dress.
Oh, yes.
But then she was going for the gloves. And he's like, oh, fine, there's gloves, whatever.
I really like how Obi-Wan is definitely rough around the edges with kids, because he was never prepared to raise Anakin. Like, that's why Anakin got screwed up, is because Anakin needed a father. He needed Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan was his brother.
Yup.
And, like, I like how it's shining through. He's trying. He's like, okay, fine, I need to talk to the kid on her level. Like, I need to go talk to her about the stupid little droid thing, but he's so clearly, like, really fed up with it.
Brother.
The Inquisitors, or at least one of them, knowing that Anakin is Darth Vader makes sense to me. I know that the galaxy doesn't know that they're the same person, but Thrawn figured it out in the books, and then the Inquisitors work with Vader directly, so that kind of makes sense.
Some of them do, yeah.
At least a couple of them. So that makes sense
That's
to me.
so weird to me that no one knows.
It's interesting.
When did that become a part of the whole thing that no one knows that
It just never really came up. Like, no one, it was done implicitly. It was just
it was never a part of the storyline, but I'm asking, like, when did it become a part of the storyline that no one knows?
I think in the Thrawn books was when it got bigger, because then
Thrawn
was like, it might have been, because Thrawn was like, I remember working with Anakin, and then he worked with Darth Vader, and he's like, sup, dude.
Wait, when did he work with Anakin?
In the 3 Thrawn books that take place between 3 and 4. They're in different, because Thrawn lives for ages. Mm-hmm. There's 3 different...
So he worked with Anakin.
He worked with Anakin in the Clone Wars.
And then he found Darth Vader, and he's like...
Yeah.
Huh.
He was like, just sitting there, he's like... He doesn't really, like, they don't, if I remember correctly, it's been a little bit since I've read it, like, they don't really talk about it, but he's like, yeah, I know who this is. And I think that was nice. And then the general thing that I just really, really like, I love the really, really close-up camera work that Deborah Chow is doing. It's focusing way more on Obi-Wan and what he's feeling and doing, and really flexing off Ewan's acting chops, instead of world building and, oh my gosh, look at the scale. Like, they show stuff, but it's like 90% of the camera work is right in your face.
Hey, Ewan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I do love how, like, there's not many times that we see, like, Jedi really, like, look at their lightsaber, you know? Because it's, like, it's a part of them.
Right.
Like, when he thought he thought he was going to have to fight with his lightsaber, he took it out and he looked and he's like, I hope I remember. Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like it was like 5% of I hope I remember, and the other 95 is like, do I really have to?
Yeah. Okay, who ripped ass?
Not me.
Not me.
Smelled it, dealt it.
Fuck. It's nice.
Half hour of Spencer's notes, and here I am saying,
sorry,
depressed, angry space wizard.
Love it.
Yay.
Love it. I do love.
Sorry, I was taking notes the whole time I was watching. I got actually a little emotional watching it in the beginning.
Okay, hold on. I need to say it here, like, officially say it. Spencer.
What?
You can't keep saying it got me emotional about every single fucking thing that you watch. Because every time we come here, or every time I see your fucking stupid tweets, it's like, I actually got emotional on this one. This one actually got me to be emotional. Spencer, anything that has the slightest bit of sad, or depressed, or old man go burr,
or angry,
you're like,
it's so mean!
It's so mean!
This is fair.
You can't keep using that as a, wow, it actually got me emotional. No, I can use that because not many things make me fucking cry in the show.
I wasn't saying that in reference to what the show was doing. It was honestly I wanted to give you shit. I know. It was just hearing the theme with the opening title card, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna die. That was it.
Here we go.
Lore.
Also, John Williams' motif that he made is very nice. It is an iteration on the original Obi-Wan theme, and I'm very happy about that. Not worth keeping in. It was just like, oh, cool. He didn't start over from scratch. He iterated on what he already did. Yeah,
he threw it through a chopper.
Yeah, he chopped and screwed it, and then let the other guy run with it, which is nice.
Okay, so Colin, what have you read this week?
Okay, so I read Batman Imposter, which takes place in like the third year of this universe's Batman's timeline.
It's a Black Label book, so it's in
a
its
Black
own
Label,
universe.
so it's its own
Yep.
thing. And the screenwriter for
Exclusive.
the Batman
Oh.
also worked on this comic, as far as I remember when I was talking to Rich. And Rich from Jetpack Comics. Thank you, Jetpack Comics. Anyway, I read this book, and I was talking about it with a buddy, and I was talking about, I don't know if I really want to read this book, and he's like, why? It's like one of my favorites, and I'm like, I don't know, it's just, I've heard it's not that good, and he's like, why did they say that? I'm like, oh, it's just Spencer. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, why the fuck are you taking my opinion seriously?
Because you and I have, like, the same taste most of the time.
But you also think I have retarded opinions.
You
all
do,
the time.
because you do all the time, and you say that you cry about every single fucking thing that you watch. So
I'm
it's
being
like,
honest.
I know, you're retarded. What the fuck?
Moving on.
Anyway, in this universe, Spencer actually already talked about this book, so I'm just going to touch up on a couple things. This universe, Alfred left. Batman's forced to talk to Leslie Tompkins at midnight, or otherwise she's going to tell the police that she's Batman. Of course she doesn't do it. She always fucking says that she's going to do it, and she apparently almost does it every single time, but like doesn't, because she's fucking wimp. She's a little baby. It's because she loves Bruce Wayne, because it's her little boy, you know.
Yeah.
Because like no one else loves him, because he has no mom, and for some reason Alfred left, which I think is such bullshit. Because I get it. I read the panel. There's a panel where like you saw Alfred be like, I'm just a butler, like literally nothing else. And once I read that, I'm like, okay, I can see this being real. Like this would happen, but not Alfred.
Alfred can literally do nothing wrong.
This is literally not Alfred. This is a different character, which is fine to the story.
It's his brother, Alfred.
Yeah, it's Alfred. Anyway, I do like how this Bruce does everything himself. Like, he doesn't have any other staff. He like does his own stuff. His house is like it's a little messed up. It's disheveled and shit and whatever. But there's so many things about this Batman that really it's kind of dumb. It is dumb, but I would read this again, actually. I do like this book. It's just there's a lot of things I think are dumb, like the motorcycles.
I love it.
That's
like.
so dumb.
I love it.
That is actually so dumb.
But explain it to us.
So there's like 20 to 30 to 400 motorcycles hidden all around Gotham.
Literally millions of dollars worth of motorcycles.
Stupid.
Bruce Wayne is dumb.
Yeah, sure. He's mentally retarded, but he's not dumb. Anyway, there's also these really cool concept of like zip lines all around Gotham. That's cool. That shit's cool. That makes sense. People are like, he's flying. He's not. He's using zip lines. And it's not even a glider. It's like zip lines. That's cool as shit. The imposter is like a random cop, which we've seen the cop, but Spencer was right. It was very random, and it was kind of dumb.
Why wasn't it James Gordon?
Yeah,
that would have been.
It would
dope.
actually make way more sense. It was James. It makes sense that James was actually pushed out of Gotham.
Not the only thing that I've had Batman recently where he's been pushed out, but that's not something that we're gonna talk about this week. We got to talk about that one next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it soon. I haven't finished it.
It's not over yet.
I haven't finished what's out.
Oh, it gets good, dude. You're gonna love it. Sorry.
He already said he's Batman.
Shut up.
I don't like his Batman voice. Anyway, so we'll keep going on and talking about Batman Imposter.
Batman acts like a sussy baka the whole time. He's very horny.
What is this?
Which is nothing new. A sussy baka. Baka means stupid.
It doesn't mean anything. It just means.
Anyway, this book is not terrible. It is, I think, well written, except for the fact that the imposter Batman's a rando cop. And I felt like there was one more thing I wanted to talk about this book.
Price.
Too much.
No. There's a plot point that I want to talk about.
I call next.
Price, too much. Also, the binding is dog shit.
Scarface. I liked Scarface. I like that. That seemed cool, and I like how it wasn't just like Batman beat the shit out of someone. He actually like
got some help.
Yeah, sent someone for help, and that was nice. That was cool to see. Also, female cop bonk.
Wow. Price?
think it's $30.
Price was $30, $29.99. Too much. I would have rather have bought this not in a hardcover, paperback for $14.99.
That's fair. I think that it'll probably be a $20 trade when it comes out.
That's too much.
I don't disagree. I'm just thinking page count wise.
Probably.
So while we are shitting on Spencer and his shitty opinions,
Oh gosh.
I read the Marvel Max series of Hellstorm, Son of Satan.
Equinox.
Equinox. I don't understand
move.
what Equinox.
make noise. Let me move.
I don't understand what Equinox has to do with anything.
No idea. None of this book makes any fucking sense.
Wait, sorry. Say it again. Chair move.
Hellstorm, Son of Satan, Equinox. As if they were going to make more of these. And Equinox was just this arc. But that's all that was written. Written by Alexander C. Irvine, and Russell Braun. 5
Sorry, that's
issues collected in a trade that I borrowed from Spencer. Hellstorm tracks down something weird happening with like a mom and kid, and it has to do with Egyptian mythology, and that was actually pretty solid. The issue was that Hellstorm is basically a straight edge. He just says a couple of bad words, but that's it. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't have the sex, like nothing. And he's just like a daytime cop. So most of the comic is bright and colorful, and that's exactly opposite of what Hellstorm really should be.
He felt like
he felt like a Constantine almost.
that's what I was gonna say. He felt like Constantine, but with even less, because Constantine is usually like drunk as shit.
Right.
Like Hellstrom usually feels like a really extreme Constantine, but it was like at the other.
It
end.
was the
so weird.
opposite end of the spectrum from Constantine, and that's what was wrong with this book. He wasn't edgelord at all.
Wear a pentagram.
Yeah, nowhere. The book still tried to push its content limits, I guess, by throwing in some bad words. It was more than what Spencer listed, but it still wasn't a whole lot.
They said cock.
Ball.
They did say cock.
He does literally walk around with a cock in his
Yeah.
fucking pocket for like the whole issue.
That's what I was getting into, is that he has to sew on a dude's dick.
Why?
It's Osiris, so he has to be reassembled to come back to life. It's an Egyptian mythology thing. All of his organs are removed from his body. That it does include the pee-pee. And that's the last thing. He's like, oh, we have to find the last one. He's like, of course, it's the dick.
But that's a dumb reason to have a Max comic, because you're sewing on a dude's dick.
I agree.
Especially with Hellstorm. Like, what are you even doing?
Oh, boy. Yeah.
The Egyptian mythology is a good idea, and that's the resounding consensus. Everything else is kind of dumb and a major letdown.
You gave it the exact same rating on Goodreads that I did.
I considered 1 star less.
I also considered that. You know what?
I wish half stars were possible on Goodreads.
Yes. If
because
you're gonna,
it's such a big deal.
if you're gonna do a number system, like 10 is better than 5 for options.
Yes.
Shut up! You go by 7.
7 is okay.
7 is better than 5.
Shut up. If we're talking about only 5 and 10, 10 is better. But we're talking about 3 things. 7 is better than 5, and 7 is better than 10. 7 is better than all.
Yeah, lucky number 7. Okay. You know what?
I'm an anime.
Speaking of considering, I have a lot of things I could talk about.
Yeah,
Shut
you've
up.
been saying that for like 6 months now.
You've been
This is
saying
true.
that for 2 years that we have been recording this.
That's true too.
Yeah, also true. Next week is going to be a Sean Murphy extravaganza.
Oh boy.
So you know
So Punk Rock Jesus and the Imposters? Was that the other one?
the plot holes.
Plot holes.
That's what I'm going to do next week. So I finished the Death.
I've never seen you do so much retarded shit in one sitting.
It's because I missed last week.
That's true. He has to make up for it. We weren't retarded enough last week.
Speaking
That's
of...
not true. Foreskin.
Shut up.
I'm gonna pee. Go ahead! Do your review!
Everybody to the door and you make noise. It makes noise. Just be. So I finally finished the Deathstroke by Christopher Priest omnibus.
Is that the chunky one?
That was the big chunky one.
Yeah!
So this ran from 2016 to 2020. It includes Deathstroke Rebirth number 1, Deathstroke
Rebirth.
Deathstroke 1 through 50, Deathstroke Annual 1, DC Holiday Special 2017 number 1, Titans 11, Teen Titans 8, 28, 29, and 30, and Titans the Lazarus Contract Special number 1. This was all written by Christopher Priest. So basically, it's an ongoing run. And this book made me have a revelation about reading omnibuses, or as I continuously say by accident, omnibuses. Reading an omnibus for an ongoing run is kind of not a good experience, because when it's an ongoing run that's not really, really planned out ahead of time, they're only doing like 1 or 2 arcs at a time, it ends up getting extremely cyclical, and when you're reading an omnibus, you're kind of like binging the whole thing. I'm not going to stop buying them because it's my preferable way to have them on my shelf, but it does prove to be pretty tricky. So this is the most updated version of Deathstroke. Everything after this is still canon, but this retcons a lot of stuff. Every time Deathstroke gets reintroduced, it gets reinterpreted. Very largely, there's a lot of continuity shifts around his character, and his surrounding characters. So this had pencils by Carlo. I can't even. There were about 5 different pencilers that ran for the majority of this book. Almost everything looks nearly identical. So I will give them that. It was good art. None of it was really low quality. It was really consistent. The proportions were solid. There's some designs I don't like, but the fact that so many people working on the book for like 4 or 5 years managed to keep everything so consistent is really, really impressive. I enjoyed the rewriting of his history compared to the last one. The New 52 stuff that I read was pretty yikesy sometimes and like just not great. This one is a lot more straightforward. It makes his family dynamic really clear, and that's the biggest thing with Deathstroke that no interpretation even touches, except for Deathstroke Dragons and Cock and Ball Torture, DC animated movie number 57, whatever, seems to be the only thing. Everything just goes, Deathstroke is really cool, he has swords, and he's like the best mercenary. That is like so surface level, it's not even funny. Can you stop? Hey. Deathstroke's family and extended family dynamic is like the most important part of the character. He is complicated and conflicted because of how his brain is damaged and the stuff that's been done to him and how it relates to his family. Like, that's where the meat and potatoes of the character is, and reducing him to just a really cool mercenary is lame. The thing that personally pissed me off, every issue to 3 issues, they'd go through the same, this is Wintergreen. He's basically Deathstroke Alfred. Like, that, this is a well-known thing, but like they'd be like, he's my best friend. He runs all my tech. I've known him since this. And it's like, okay, I get it. I'm reading a continuous run. You don't have to keep reintroducing every character.
Green Lantern by Jeff Johns does I'm Hal Jordan
every
single issue.
But it's Hal Jordan.
Dick Grayson, age 12, retard.
For that.
But Hal Jordan is like a boring douchebag, so it makes sense that he'd do his own voiceover, you know?
Yeah, he is so boring.
Sometimes, yes.
Most of the time.
So about halfway through this whole omnibus is where it really picks up speed. The first half was fine. It goes over, like, Deathstroke is not... Okay, we're going to get into the yikesy category here.
Yay!
So this is something you can't avoid. Deathstroke is not a pedophile, but Deathstroke did rape a child. This is a canonical thing. This happened in the Teen Titans during the Judas contract. Like, this was...
that was the 70s, though, so
whatever.
It was acceptable then.
Yeah, yes, a 16-year-old girl and a 40-year-old man. Very good. Yeah, so this run touches on it mostly carefully. It acknowledges it. It somewhat recontextualizes it. So it doesn't try to... It doesn't do any weird, like, victim-blaming shit. Be like, well, she was, like, being... No, it's like, no, he did something horrible for a bad reason to to like fuck with the Titans and whatnot. He wasn't doing it because he was attracted to her. He just did it to do it. Neither one is good or okay, but it makes it clearer. And it's like kind of looming over a lot of this. She gets reintroduced briefly towards the end. And the fact that the reason why Deathstroke is always around the Teen Titans or the Titans, aside from the fact that they had something to do with his first son's death, is basically the fact that he's constantly trying to fix his relationships with his kids, but he can't do it. He's so stupid. Like, he's genuinely so broken that he can't, like, just tell his kids that he loves them. Like, he has to make convoluted kidnapping plots and time travel and all sorts of shit because he's that broken inside. And that's why he ends up basically always fighting with, like, teenagers. Is because he may as well mentally be a teenager. Mm-hmm. I really like that. So about halfway through, there's an arc with Batman. There's an arc with him getting put into Arkham Asylum. There's an arc with him and the Teen Titans and the Titans at the same time that addresses the whole there are two Wally West thing. Deathstroke steals Flash powers and time travels for a minute. He goes good for 5 minutes, the worst part of this entire arc. Really poorly written. He goes good, makes his own team of teenagers and whatever. And then, so one of the bigger parts of this reboot-ish is his second son, Jericho, is, like, really recontextualized. Like, he is also a superhero who has powers because of a suit that he uses, which was made by one of Deathstroke's partners, Dr. Icon, who also becomes a superhero. It's a thing. That also has tinges of weird power dynamics because one of Deathstroke's like war buddies ends up getting with Jericho when he's an adult, but it's just kind of weird. That was kind of hit or miss for me. There's just so much here to get into that I'm just not going to. I liked it. It was very good. None of it was terribly standout. The stuff that was best was Deathstroke acknowledging that he's crazy, basically. He has a digital wintergreen in his head that doesn't exist. He was tricked, quote unquote, into believing that he had an implant in his brain. And it's wintergreen, but it's like, because it's like his conscience type deal, you know? And it doesn't exist. He was never given an implant. He just believed it and he ran with it. So even when he's in Arkham Asylum, he's listening to this fake voice in his head. It's so funny. That sort of stuff I found really interesting. A lot of the drama with him and his ex-wife and the various government organizations is where it really, really gets boring. This is the best Deathstroke stuff I've read, but frankly, that's not saying much. The character is just really cool, but no one seems to be able to nail him. And this seems to be the most popular run, and I can understand why.
Nobody can nail him.
Oh, everyone can nail him. Oh! One thing I do have to say. There was an arc where it was apparently revealed that Damian Wayne was actually Slade's kid. And because Talia fucks everyone, of course. Yep. And the whole thing, it's this war between Batman and Deathstroke and Damian and Talia. And it concludes with Deathstroke basically just walking up to Talia and saying, yeah, I knew he wasn't my kid because after I found out about Rose, I had my fucking nuts tied up. It's so funny. Like, he runs with this lie. It's a weird mystery. It's this weird, like, mystery thing of, like, is it real? Batman is like, even if he's not my kid, he is my son. I don't care. Like, whatever. It involves Tim Drake. There's a lot of family drama stuff. But Deathstroke just is like, I knew he wasn't my kid, but I'd play around with the idea just for funsies. So him and Damian have a dynamic that's very different, but it's reminiscent of him and Dick Grayson, not Deathstroke and Dick. Deathstroke and Dick Grayson. Robin. Nightwing, you know?
Nice.
I like how Deathstroke has different types of relationships with different parts of the Bat family. It's cool. Anyways, this was $100.
That's not bad for such a chunky omnibus.
I paid $100 for it. I believe it's $150 cover price. I bought it on Amazon. I think it's worth it for either Deathstroke fans, people who are really curious. It's certainly the most economic way to get through all these books. Or completionists. And there are a fair few arcs in this book that are good jumping on points to the character. Moving on, Jacob.
Nope, Colin.
Colin!
So I finished the deluxe edition, book 1 of Sandman by Neil Gaiman.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Father.
Colin is growing into a man now.
It goes quick, doesn't it?
Yes and no. Yes and no. At first, when I started reading the first issue, I'm like, what the fuck am I reading? Why are we going through this? Footsies.
You didn't touch my foot.
It was me.
Let me touch you!
No.
Anyway.
Let me lick your toes.
Short little leg bitch.
Anyway, the first issue is like weird because of how it just keeps going from now we're in the 50s, now we're in the 60s, now we're in the 70s, we're back to the 60s, now we're in the 80s, now we're in the 30s. And it's just weird. The first issue, I'm like, what the fuck? Where am I going to see my tall, dark,
Goth
pale boy?
boyfriend.
My tall goth boyfriend. Where
Yes.
am I going to see him?
Yep.
And then when I see his naked body in the glass ball, I'm like, oh, there he is.
That's him.
That's the sad, angry man.
Yeah.
Dream kind of is a goth femboy now that I think about it.
Yes, he is.
I didn't really realize that.
He's a goth femboy. I'm like, wow, this is exactly what I wanted to read. And I totally forgot that Sandman's always been in the DC universe. It's always been a DC universe thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought it was almost like a Vertigo merger type of thing, like how Hellblazer was.
Same.
That's why I thought, because it's just so doesn't feel like DC, because DC's normally
It's
feels
so
superheroes,
different.
It's because it's the concepts behind everything.
Yep.
So that's why it's so disconnected.
Yeah, so for people who don't know and probably do know, Sandman is the beginning of the stories of the Endless, which are these brought to life concepts, and they exist because people believe they exist. And if I'm correct, we have death, destiny, dream, lust, delirium, despair, and there's one more. I think it's destruction.
There you go.
Destruction.
Damn,
Yep.
bro. You got it.
Nice.
And so far, I have been introduced to death, dream, spoken about delirium, spoken about destiny.
Lust.
We've seen lust. Lust is a big player so far.
Big player.
Yeah, big player. Lust and despair, I have seen. Stop that. Love Death. I love Death. She's great.
The thing
So-
about Death that's so fucking cool is her demeanor. Have you gotten to the part where they get into why she is the way that she is? I don't remember
Not
where
yet.
that is. Okay. It's
I'm in the
really
first
cool when it explains why she's peppy. It's very cool.
I love that she's peppy. It starts out. The whole story starts out with Dream was caught by this cult that were trying to catch his sister, Death, and they stripped him of his powers, which were his helm, his ruby, and his sack of balls. No, his sack of
Potatoes.
dream dust, which is sand, and
He is the Sandman.
he is the Sandman. And so during the story, he eventually escapes because the old fuck is in a wheelchair, and one of his stupid guys accidentally gets the wheelchair to mess with the black powdery circle that's keeping Dream contained. And Dream gets out, gets his revenge on the old man's son, because the old man died a while ago. And after that, he escapes, and he's on this journey to find all of his things. He finds out that the sand was taken by a druggie, so of course we have to talk to Constantine about druggies, and then we find that the helm was stolen by this gross-looking, pink, disgusting demon thing, so we get to see the three monarchs of hell, and he gets into a rap battle with him. Basically gets into a rap battle with him. And
Where is Etrigan when you need him?
Oh, Etrigan's fucking great. I love that. I love seeing all these little guys. And then we go back to Earth, where he tries to find Dr. Destiny. And you know what's so cool about that? It's so weird. Every time I read about I watch something or read about something, And there's these little details, and then once I watched like cartoons, like old, like not old cartoons, but like Justice League cartoons, stuff like that, and they have like random characters that you just never heard of before, and then I read this, I'm like, oh shit, this is him in the comics, and he's just this fucking disheveled ass skeleton looking thing that makes people fucking do weird ass shit. He escapes from Arkham Asylum because his mother gave him her charm. And then he goes to this diner and makes people do fucked up shit, and eventually they all fucking die.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah, that was
messed up.
Yeah, that was so fucking messed up. And then, so I remember seeing Dr. Destiny in Justice League. So that was so weird to see. And then we got Scarecrow, who's just vibing. He's just pulling pranks at Arkham Asylum. So he gets all his stuff back, and then we go into this whole storyline about there's this time vortex going to happen, whatever, and Dream's got to kill the person who's going to be the time vortex or the dream vortex, and it so happens that this dream vortex was the granddaughter of this woman who underwent this coma. So, backtrack. When Dream was put under capture for 50 years, in that 50 years' time, the whole Dream realm was fucked up. Everything's in disarray. Everything is out of order. People were not sleeping. People were sleeping way too long. Some people never woke up. And then once Dream came back, things started to get somewhat better. What are you shaking your head for?
I'll talk about it when I get to my review.
Oh, okay. So, once Dream got back, he realized that what happened to his dream realm and his ivory towers, he's like, damn, I gotta get all my stuff back. And so now, we come back to one of the women that were actually in like a forever coma. She was raped by a dude, and then that child got sent off to America. And then we get to see her again. And she was supposed to be this dream vortex, but all this stupid weird shit. Okay, so what I love about this book is how much fucking callback there is. There's a ridiculous amount. This whole book is a fucking circle. It's in itself. There's no like loose ends, but if there's loose ends, it's going to be talked about in like the next fucking books.
Neil Gaiman understands the stuff he writes so well. You'd think he's like a walking Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
It's so fucking
those first
cool.
issues that you were having a hard time getting into, he just brings full circle.
Yeah,
and it's perfect.
I love that. Like, I'm fine that like those issues were so hard to read because he made it worth it.
Yep.
Because they come back around and they make into other plot lines and shit like that.
Exactly.
It's so cool. I love the Sandman.
Price?
Has he brought you a dream?
Well, I got to read it for free.
And cover price of that book is $30, I think.
No way. It's like
$45.
it's $50.
Ah, dang.
$49.99.
All right. What would you spend?
That exactly.
You'd buy it for cover price?
Yeah.
Colin, I'm going to give you a strong recommendation. Those you should buy in the omnibuses, they're leather bound, and they're not that expensive. And those are the ones I'm buying. There's 3 of them. It's the entire Sandman run, and then they have other omnibuses collecting all the Lucifer stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, there's like 10 of those. So
Yeah, otherwise there's 8 or 10 deluxe books. There's like 15 trades. They are the re-release trades are very nice that they're doing under Black Label now. Or you can just get the 3 full-ass omnibuses. They're, like, you can look at them. They're not, like, cheap, but for being leather-bound, they're not that bad. Hold on. They're, I think, like $200 a piece. Again, leather-bound, you should expect it to be insane.
All right. I read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin 1 through 5.
Damn, bro.
It was originally, the first one was released in October of last year, and the last one was released, 3 weeks ago now? At Free Comic Book Day, basically?
So. Yeah.
So I've been waiting a while to finally have them all and read it as one chunky bit.
Finally, I have them all.
Finally, I have them all. It is written by Bobby Curnow, Kevin Eastman, and Tom Waltz. So, we are way, way, way in the future. There's one turtle left. He is no longer a teenager, but an adult Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Which turtle is it?
I'm not gonna tell you.
Which turtle is it?
There's only one left. All the rest of the turtle family has died.
I called it.
Do you
I remember
we both
him saying
did.
that.
But dude, when those days of speculating on that was so fun because it could have conceivably been any of them.
You shut
The
up.
part I really liked about this story is that when the three other brothers and Splinter died, this turtle went away to Japan and climbed the mountains and became one with nature and whatever, and learned the other turtles' techniques. He can use all 4 weapon styles. And it's also like part of the Ronin mythology of like defending family's honor or something. I don't know. But
Yes.
it's
Yes.
very good. The artwork is very high quality for the most part. The flashbacks feel very, very, very Sharpie sketch-esque. It's kind of weird, but good to have a different style for flashbacks. The books are an interesting format. They're kind of wider, kind of taller, and the covers are like really tough cardstock, I guess. And the inside paper is a thicker kind of paper. So good quality, which is a good thing because each issue cost $9. And 3 out of 5 I got the Jetpack exclusive covers, so that's like $15-ish. So I spent a considerable amount of money on these, and I'm very upset to find out that you can get it together in one trade, hardcover, for $26 on Amazon right now. Well, sort of. You have to pre-order it. It comes out July 5th. But still,
Yes.
that is the way to go. Because I would say it's worth the $26 to be collected as one piece. Especially because, and I've already bitched about this off air, there are so many alternate covers for these 5 issues. The first issue had 60 alternate covers for just the first issue.
That's a few.
I think if that trade has like a page for each alternate
Big
cover, it'll be the same size as the actual story. It's so many alternate covers, and it doesn't really make sense because my understanding is that the turtle stuff doesn't really sell well, like for collecting. So it's why flood the market with something that doesn't sell well anyway? You're just ruining the market even more. I don't get it. The ending of the story.
Sequel bait where?
Yes, that's where I was going.
There is sequel
There
bait?
is
Aww.
sequel bait.
That's sad.
Extremely.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure it says to be continued.
Gay.
Quite.
That's sad.
Because it was a pretty legit ending. And it's like so set forward in the future anyway that I'm not sure I want to see more.
Aw. That's very sad.
I'm trying to keep it vague.
That's fair.
Wait, I'm sorry. What happened that's very sad?
Sequel bait. So yeah, I'm kind of bummed that I spent so much money on it. I should have waited for it to be collected.
Yep.
But it's still a good story. Quite enjoyable. I'll probably rate the trade on Goodreads instead of tracking down all 5 issues.
That is a massive pain
Goodreads,
in the butt for some of these sorts of things because sometimes they only have the collected editions and sometimes they only have the issues.
I'll probably give it a 4 out of 5.
That's solid. That's good work.
If it allowed for half stars, I'd probably do 3.5. Maybe. 3.5 to 4 stars. Out of 5. Not 7. Colin can suck my nuts.
I like turtles.
This is like I've seen the first 90s movie.
The only good one. Yes.
I think that's it. That's
Seriously?
like my only experience with turtles. I started the Michael Bay ones but got bored and fell asleep.
I strongly recommend the 2003 animated series.
Yes.
It's similar in tone to the first 90s movie. It's a hybrid between the darker OG stuff and the new kid stuff. It also does time travel future things, but later in the series.
Weird.
And it's some of the most definitive interpretations. Like, it's not the fan favorite. I think that's the 2012 one. Is still pretty unanimously... It's more childish, but it's like everyone liked it.
Sure.
2003 is the one I grew up with. I watched the old show when I was a kid, but like...
Oh, yeah, I loved that,
The
too.
2003 one was like my show.
Oh, I
It's a
also
little
played
dark and
one of the NES games before I knew how to game.
The arcade games were awesome. Those were
Street Fighter,
Yeah, the
Street Brawler ones.
yes.
Yeah.
Those I miss those types of games. Like they're all reskins, but
Yeah.
there's something special about just running down the street and just punching up bad guys.
Yeah.
Like that's what the
And
Incredibles Game Boy Advance game was that, and it was so fucking good.
Spencer, wrap us up. What have you done?
Do you guys want magic, or aliens?
Aliens.
Oh, okay. So I watched Invincible season 1.
Fuck yes! Finally! Holy shit! You're actually gonna talk about something good.
Oh my gosh. So this came out in
He hated it.
No. So this came out in 2021 on Amazon Prime Video. It's 8 episodes. So I have some Wikipedia type familiarity with the Invincible comics. That's about it. I was told that I saw the public reception to the show was really good, and it was very accurate to the comics, and the comics were well received, so I finally got on it. So it's about this boy whose dad is basically Superman.
This boy is basically Nightwing.
He basically is Nightwing.
He's basically Nightwing.
He is. And he eventually gets powers, and then he finds out his dad is actually evil and there to conquer the Earth. Basically. There's an ongoing mystery, which we know the answer to, but like the ongoing intrigue about who killed the Guardians
Justice
of the
League.
Guardians.
Guardians.
Guardians of the Globe. the amount of spoofing that goes on is awesome, but it doesn't feel like rude, which is always something that spoofs are very hit or miss with. It either feels like it's intentional and it's making fun of it, or it's just riffing on it for fun. Like
They made fun of Aquaman a little bit, but how they did like
if you don't make a fish fucking joke, are you even a real Aquaman fan?
literally, but like how they did their Flash spoof.
Yes.
How they made it like serious.
Yes.
That was very tasteful. Where it's like, I'm sorry, I'm like literally bored with everyone because everyone is super slow compared to me.
Yes.
How can you not? You wouldn't understand that, but like, please try to.
Yeah. So the thing about this show that I really enjoyed, one of the biggest positives is the fact that there are a lot of characters. There's a good amount of world building, but the story itself is very self-contained, or at least it feels like it. It has a tight core cast. You have a couple of teams, but unlike what the comics always do with everything, where the team lines are super confusing, Young Justice, this is very clear on who is who and who is where and how old everyone is. Also, they slightly unsexyify Adam Eve, and I'm very happy about that because I feel very weird when they're like, oh, look, it's a 16-year-old, she's basically wearing a thong. And I'm like, please, God, no. I don't understand why they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Her comic...
I like her shorts. I like those.
They have, like, she is 18 in the show for obvious reasons. They just aged her up like a year. But yeah, she has, like, they're just, like, legging shorts on. It's just... It feels less men drawing women type deal, which is always nice. The character is phenomenal. The main character of Mark is great. The memes are good, obviously. The cast, I didn't realize the voice cast was so stacked until I looked at like the credits. It's insane. J.K. Simmons fucking kills it as our main baddie.
I'm sorry, did you say daddy?
No.
Oh.
Maybe. I think the thing that makes the show stick so well in people's minds is the high contrast between the fairly light, fun, like visual aesthetic. It has some similarities to Young Justice, kinda. It's in that vein. But then it goes, oh look, here's the inside of someone's skull. Like the sheer contrast between the animation style and then the violence is ballistic. Like, I don't usually get squeamish when they do, especially superhero stuff, does like lots of physical violence. Like, I usually enjoy it. When the Guardians of the Globe were getting massacred, I was actually uncomfortable. Like, it was disgusting. Loved it, but
like how contorted the bodies were.
yeah,
how fast Batman fucking got murked.
Yeah, it's Batman, but he's black. That's it.
Yeah,
that's funny.
That was cool.
That was great.
I like his surfboard.
He's got a flying surfboard, like Static Shock, kinda.
Yeah.
I like the fact that this show doesn't feel ashamed of the fact that it's a superhero property, and it doesn't feel the need to try to rip off of anyone else's formula. It just goofs on their characters. It is just a straight up superhero story. Another Amazon Prime property, The Boys, is very cynical, less so than the comics, but like sometimes it feels like it doesn't like any of it. Like, it doesn't like any of our modern superhero stuff. It's hard to walk the line. Garth Ennis is notorious for hating superhero comics, even though he writes some of the best ones. A lot of writers are like that, surprisingly. But this show, and I'm assuming the comics, it just enjoys being a superhero thing. It's like there's aliens, and there's superheroes, and there's teenagers, and there's family drama, and it's all really well balanced and fun. And the way that they make... I'm not the first person to say this, and I won't be the last. The way that they make Nolan so despicable is impressive, because he's a very charismatic person. It's J.K. Simmons, but slowly you get these weird little hints of like something being off and weird, and he has like weird dissociative moments or whatever. And then when you establish Mark having such a strong relationship with his mother, who even he accidentally kind of belittles once or twice, and
which
then
happens.
it happens, but he's, oh, my normal mom, blah, blah, whatever. And then you have the contrast of his dad being like, yeah, she's like a pet. And then he just goes fucking, but like, Mark gets one flurry of hits in on Nolan, and that's it. Those were the most cathartic things in the whole series. It's like, so not only are you just, an evil, conquering piece of garbage, you basically are fucking your dog. So if you're going to say... So you're just an absolute degenerative piece of garbage. It was so good. It does end on, not necessarily a cliffhanger, but very much so sequel date. More is coming.
I love the whole sequence of, like, him talking to Mark as he's like... Mark can't do anything. He's at a point he can't move at all. He can't do anything.
The one on
he
the
can't punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, think, Mark, think. That's funny, but, like... Besides the memes, but like that, it's heartbreaking because also Nolan's getting to a point where he's like, am I doing the wrong thing?
Yeah, he's starting
because my son cares this much.
Yeah, like,
did I fail him or am I doing something wrong? And then he just leaves.
I appreciate the fact that Nolan's probably off to go back to his planet, most likely. Again, I don't know what the comics do. I don't know, but it's interesting how, again, you can make such a powerful, god tier character so evil. Like, unambiguously evil. But also the fact that you see moments of not doubt, but confusion is really interesting. It doesn't feel weird. I don't know. It's just, he's such an actual well-written character. I don't remember the character's name off the top of my head because I watched this about 3 weeks ago, but their Hellboy ripoff is amazing.
Yeah.
He's like fat Hellboy plus Constantine. My favorite character. Love him. And then...
Plus Edgerkin, kind of?
Kind of, yeah. And I really like... Seth Rogen's cameo was nice. He's
I
just
love
this
that
random Alan the alien. I love that. That was nice.
Alan the alien.
I didn't realize it was Seth Rogen until the second time he pops up, and I was like, oh...
Because he doesn't do Seth Rogen things.
Yeah, he doesn't... Only at the end does he do the... the stupid... I was like, oh, okay, that's definitely Seth Rogen. That was nice. I really like this, and I'm looking forward to season 2, which is coming out this year, I believe.
I'm a little worried about some things they're going to do. So I haven't finished the comics, but I know things that happen in the comics. Like, so the...
How do you do, fellow Wikipedia surfer?
What are they called? What's their race called? The Superman race?
It starts with a V.
Yeah. Anyway,
Vagina men.
So they're fucked up.
Well, yes.
Because they are, like, strongest of the fittest or whatever.
They're just literally space fascists. That's it.
Yeah. And so basically, the strongest take their mates, whether they want to or not.
Yeah.
And so there's a female from that planet who likes Mark.
Oh,
and Mark doesn't want anything.
Oh.
And she's like, well, this is what you don't get, little one.
Ew.
We take what we want. And so she, like, I think breaks a couple limbs and rapes him.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's not surprising, but yikes.
And just leaves him naked in, like, because they're outside somewhere fighting, and she just leaves him naked there. She's like, I'll see you later.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it gets rough.
They'll probably be a little bit more tasteful about it. It seems like the comics are a little extreme.
They
But-
can be.
So, that is the end of our show for this week. Thank you for listening. Next week, we're going to be talking about Tokyo Ghost, all 10 issues, as well as Obi-Wan Episode 3. A thank you to our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire.
They feed our addiction.
They really do.
They're our supplier.
They are our dealers.
Yes.
And now I can have better conversations with Devin about Invincible because Devin is obsessed with Invincible. So this is good. Now I have things to talk about. And also a big thank you to our one patron, Jeff Florence. If you want to support this show, please feel free to drop by patreon.com/dimecomicbros. Drop us a few bucks every once in a while. It helps us, again, feed the addiction. You're enabling bad habits, but you know you are.
It's good bad habits, though.
Yeah, there
Could be bad habits.
True. We have 3 different Patreon tiers. You can get all sorts of different rewards, including sketches done by Colin, stickers, bookmarks, blah, 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 blah. You get your name dropped. Exclusive content like clips and random segments that are usually just too spicy to leave in, so we put them up on Patreon. Random OnlyFans-esque photos whenever those pop up, when we just have weird shit that we just don't want to share publicly.
And access to our other show.
Dime Comic Bros Happy Hour, which takes place directly after Dime Comic Bros most weeks, where we crack open a beer or have a coffee. And half the time it's a business meeting, and the other time it's relationship drama, but you never know what the hell's going to go on.
Sometimes it's just funny stuff, too.
Sometimes it's just us being
I just
being
talked
mean
about
boards.
foreskin for too long.
Right.
Yeah, that was a little weird. And you also get early access to this show, as well as our other show, Dime Gaming Bros, where Jacob and I once a month talk about a couple of video games, a video game adaptation, as well as video game and tech news. We have just dropped an episode of Dime Gaming Bros. Go check it out on YouTube and all audio platforms. We definitely have talked about Resident Evil Raccoon City. I know what game I'm going to be talking about. Jacob is being secretive.
That's not true. I've told you a couple of times.
Well, I'm retarded, so shut up.
You haven't said what game you're going to talk about, so...
Yeah. Go check that out and support our other addiction. We roast Colin a lot on that show. It's a little bit more of a chill vibe sometimes.
I try not to mention Colin, because he's not on the show.
It's a shared cinematic universe.
Whoa. Wait, that means Sandman could show up.
Sandman exists in all universes because he's outside
I
of all
know,
universes.
that's what I'm saying!
He is part of the fabric of reality. That's coming in pretty hot.
You're coming in pretty hot.
I know I come pretty hot. It's stored in my balls.
That has to get fucking edited out.
No shit!
Yeah.
Except, save your sympathies.
Come in a collie.
Come in a collie. Ooh, come on, Colin. Ooh.
Come
save
on, cauliflower.
Ooh, I am that cauliflower.
No, that your brain is the cauliflower.
Yes.
Maybe. I can't tell when swamp ass is swamp ass or if it was a wet fart. You never know.
Ew, I hate that.
That's the worst. That's why I don't fart. Like, until I'm, like, on the shitter.
That's why I never fart.
Yeah, never. I'm a woman. What do you think?
That is bullshit.
Let me...
Women
There we
fart,
go.
I know it.